wish you were a real journalist asking real journalistic questions.
I'm asking questions. Yeah, what's up? So what brings you out here?
I came out here to give a voice to the voiceless.
Okay.
There's a lot of innocent and oppressed people in Palestine.
Okay.
Who are being massacred right now. I don't know if you've ever heard about Gaza.
I'm
pretty familiar. You might have heard it around.
Yeah, for sure.
Things. Okay. I'm here to give them a voice.
Okay.
And to try to communicate with people coming out of the Nikki Haley rally.
Sure, yeah.
I really want to know what their mentality is.
That's why we're here also, so we have that in common.
You're right.
Yeah.
So I want to know what brings them here and try to get a different perspective.
Gotcha.
And maybe change some minds and maybe get my mind changed in the process.
Civil conversation is what it's all about, right?
Right, absolutely.
So I guess I just want to ask, like, what... and don't take this wrong. What is your perception of what's going on in Gaza? Well, I only ask that because some people.
I'm going to tell you what my perception, but what my experience.
Okay,
is.
Fine. Well, see, we can't start with that. We have to have an argument and figure out.
As a Palestinian,
yes,
I've been to Palestine.
Okay,
I've seen the apartheid wall. I've seen all the discrepancies in the way that Palestinians are living in comparison to their Israeli counterparts.
Okay,
it is not right. There's apartheid in so many different ways. I could tell you 4 right off the top of my head.
Well, I guess how could it be apartheid if those are 2 separate countries?
They're not 2 separate countries. Palestine, it's called occupied Palestine. I'm being kind right now and using the word Israel.
Okay.
Because I don't want to discount our Jewish brothers and sisters because they do have a right to exist, but not under this current Zionistic regime. And they've had 75 years to do the right thing and create a society of equality and democracy.
Okay.
And I will tell you, the moment you step into that land, you will absolutely know that there is no democracy.
Are you talking about occupied Palestine or what we would consider Israel?
Guys, the entire thing is occupied Palestine.
So from the river to the sea, right? From the
river to the sea.
Right, that is all actually Palestine. That's not Israel then, right?
What river and what sea?
That would be the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should it be called Palestine?
Yes, should all of that be called Palestine?
It should go back to what it was called prior to 1948, yes.
Okay, well, how far are we taking that back?
1948, I just said.
But why is that the magic year, I guess?
Why is that the magic year? Because that was the year that Zionism decided to come out of the woodwork and take over Palestine. Now, there was a partition plan by the United Nations saying, hey, we're going to separate this and this between the 2 different groups.
Right.
It was never agreed upon. It was a partition plan, not an execution.
Okay.
So when they took that in 1948, they didn't just take what was partitioned to them by the United Nations. They continued to expand and mobilize into territories that are occupied Palestine. So when I say occupied Palestine, I mean every place where there's an illegal settlement, city, or anything, structure.
Right, okay. So that would include, obviously, Jerusalem, that would include Tel Aviv.
What's so crazy about the idea of having one country where everyone gets to live with equality?
I actually like that, and in the current Israeli state, there is at least a semblance of that, but can Jews currently live in any other part of the Arab world?
There is no semblance of that.
Well, can Jews live anywhere else in the Arab world with that equality that you want?
I will answer that question for you. Prior to this century, they were welcomed in all Middle Eastern countries. And as a matter of fact, for 1,000 years, they were welcomed as asylum seekers from the rest of Europe who was trying to kill them. They were welcomed into the Ottoman Empire and all the countries that were under the Ottoman Empire. The golden age of Judaism, the best philosophers, the best artists, the best musicians, they were during that period when they were under asylum of the Ottoman Empire. For 1,000 years, they were protected by the Muslims.
Well, there was the Islamic conquest of the Levant, and before that, there was Jewish settlements there, before there was any Islamic influence.
There was no conquest. It was readily given up. Jerusalem was given.
The Jews just said, you can have this, we don't want it anymore, it's yours.
The Jews never had it. It was by Christians.
There was no Jewish...
There was a few.
There was Jews there. 3%. 3% of the population of Jerusalem was Jewish.
Where did the Jews come from originally then?
Iraq.
Okay, so we should
give. So the Euphrates River, they come from Iraq.
So let's go partition some of Iraq and give that back to the Jewish people.
I would be okay with that.
You would?
Iraq is huge. They came from there. Why not?
Okay.
There's land everywhere.
Why not? Well, since we're on the topic, why not Germany for committing a Holocaust against them?
Well, there's plenty of Jews that live in Germany, freely and openly.
Absolutely. So why don't we go ahead and give them a space for their own, considering the Holocaust was promoted by German entities, the Nazis. I believe it's only fair for us to give a portion of Germany for to the Jews for the hardships that they committed on them. What do the Palestinians have to do with the Holocaust?
Well, what do you mean by Palestinian? Like, how would you define that as a race or as an ethnicity? Because that's kind of been a conglomerate that we've only really used as a definition quite recently.
I will be happy to tell you what a Palestinian is.
Okay.
Guess what? And I want this camera to pan over to me with my brownness. Do you see my brownness?
Well, we can't see most of it because you have a mask on.
My face, yeah, I think you can see it. Okay?
Well, I'm just saying, if you're confident,
this country didn't have a habit of doxing people that speak about what I'm speaking about, I'd be more than happy to take this mask off and talk to you.
Okay.
But we live in a state, in a country that does not allow that to happen. Anybody that speaks the words that I speak gets doxed immediately. There's websites dedicated to this. Now, to answer your question, because we're getting on a tangent,
we're getting on it. Yes.
A Palestinian is a multi-ethnic and religious group of individuals that consist of not just Arab identity,
of course,
but all Semitic identities, including Jewish identities. It includes ethnicities like Arab, Judaism, Aramaics, and European descended individuals. You will find Palestinians that are very dark complected like me, and you will find Palestinians that are very light complected and look exactly like you. As a matter of fact, I have a cousin that looks just like you.
That would be great. No.
I literally have a cousin that looks just like you. I almost want to call you.
I feel bad for that guy, to be honest.
No, you're good looking, bro. Don't worry about that part. But Palestine is a conglomerate of multiple ethnicities and multiple religious identities, all coming together, and for over 1,000 years have lived together in harmony and relative peace.
I got to stop you there, because if it is religious harmony, and if we have what in Gaza, or we look at the West Bank right now, what other religions are freely practiced there?
Wait,
in Gaza or the West Bank?
Yeah. You have Christians.
Christianity.
You have Orthodox Christianity. One of the oldest churches in the Middle East is in Gaza.
Let's compare the Knesset to the ruling structures of the West Bank and Gaza, and what is the representation like when it comes to the multipolarity of ethnicities or religions within those separate states?
So you're going to definitely have a lot of racism going on there. That's part of the apartheid. And it's not racism against just Arabs.
How many Jews have a voice in government in the West Bank or Gaza?
There is no parliamentary government.
I said a voice in the government, not parliamentary. I said the government.
The government.
Yeah, so who would be the governing body of Gaza right now?
Gaza right now, right now, not anymore, but it used to be Hamas.
Well, I think they still are.
What are they governing? Dead bodies and broken buildings?
Well,
rebel?
So there's
what are you governing?
Okay, so when Hamas was in charge, what was the multi-ethnic, multi-religious representation that Hamas was including?
So prior to 2015, there were Jews living in Gaza happily.
Really?
Absolutely, and they were removed forcibly by the Israeli government, and I'm honestly starting to believe it's so that they could do what they're doing today. But in 2015, all the Jews, over 200 Jews that were living...
Over 200?
Yes, and they were given...
That's less than 1% of 1% of 1%.
Well, you know what? Guess
10%
what?
10% of the Knesset is Arab.
It doesn't matter if there was one Jew living in peace there. All it does is prove my point.
No, I don't think that proves the point that you're trying to make.
Absolutely. The government has been strenuously paying these people off to leave Gaza for the last 25 years, okay? Absolutely, we'll get out of your way.
Thank you, appreciate it.
In 2015, they paid...
That was very rude to everybody, right? The way you said that?
I mean, I get that from everybody here. But in 2015, the Israeli government paid $250,000 on average to every citizen who willingly left Gaza.
So 250,000 times 20, 200. That's actually probably pretty affordable if you think about the government budget in Israel.
Easy.
Yeah. So okay, let's say we're obviously going to have.
Don't quote me on the 200 number.
I'm not. I'm just throwing it out there. 250.
I threw a 200 number up either.
Sure. You know, the best thing about statistics is 99% are made up.
Absolutely.
So, I guess the one question I have to ask, and again, I just want you to speak your mind on this. Let's say we have different interpretations of history. Let's even say that mine is wrong. Let's take that for this argument. October 7th, was it justified or not?
Was it justified?
Yes. Yes.
Was October 7th justified?
Yes.
First, I'm going to tell you.
Yes or no?
It's not a yes or no answer.
I would say no.
So you're forcing me to answer a certain way. So this is actually journalism.
No.
Journalism allows you to ask a question.
Sure.
Unbiased.
Let's see where this goes.
And allows me to answer.
It's not a bias because it's a dichotomous question.
Okay. I'm going to answer you. I'm going to tell you honestly. Okay.
Wait.
All resistance is valid when you are being occupied, and that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
You can say yes or no to whatever you want
Well,
to say.
I don't think there's going to be much room for interpretation
all resistance
there.
is valid when people are occupied. And it does not matter what country that goes across the board, across the world. Russia is occupying Ukraine, and we stand with Ukrainians so that they can be free from the Russian tyranny and occupation.
The Russians don't stand with, or the Russians stand.
Misspeak?
No,
What
no.
did I
Let
say?
me rephrase. You said so. The Palestinians stand with the Ukrainians because the.
I did not
Oh,
say
sorry,
that.
sorry.
What he said.
I did not
Yeah,
say
him.
that.
So let me don't put. No, I don't want to
say
put
that.
words in his mouth.
I did not say that.
I just want to get this
said
clear.
we are standing with the right of Ukrainians
Okay, to not be occupied.
to not be occupied.
Okay, got it.
Because occupation, no matter what it looks like across the world.
Then
is
why are the
incorrect.
Russians standing with the Palestinians?
Why because that's a political.
It's
a political stunt. We have nothing to do with Putin. If he wants to support the Palestinian people, I support him.
What about the Ayatollah?
Ayatollah, the Iranians.
Yeah, I don't
What
think.
is my opinion on it? You know, I'm
Well,
just a regular
You're asking
citizen.
about Palestine.
Yeah, but where do you think?
Let's ask about
who propped
Palestine.
up
Let's
Hamas? Why do we think Hamas had the ability to do what they did?
That's called propaganda. Bro.
No, that's called
In
the
what ways
IRG.
have they propped them up?
Weapons,
Which
funding.
weapons?
What weapons?
Which weapons?
What
Yes.
are we fight? What are they?
Rifles,
Rifles.
artillery shells,
Okay.
money for training.
All right.
Free Palestine.
So we have
Yes.
in Texas. In Texas, we have rifles.
Sure.
We have weapons.
I can't buy them from Beijing.
Does that mean that Ayatollah supplied that to us? How did you get your gun? I'm pretty sure the Russians gave it to you.
No, what?
What you're saying right now is that they all got that from. How did Iran get it to them?
How did Iran get it to-
Gaza, If
They've-
Gaza is the most secure border in the world, the Israelis have the highest amount of technology. It's the most secure border in the world. How are things getting in?
Why was there a blockade put on Palestine from Gaza from the outside originally?
I don't know why you tell me.
Because there was weapon shipments intercepted multiple times from Iran.
Okay.
So there,
Where's the substantiated evidence for that?
the boats that were seized that were reported on. So like,
Reported on where are those boats? Where are those weapons?
there's pictures of them. Go to Al Jazeera, go to CNN. I don't care what your source is. It's not a secret.
So Iran is funding Hamas.
Yes.
What does that have to do with the freedom of the Palestinians?
Why would the Iranians be doing that?
Why would the Iranians be trying to free Palestine?
Yeah.
Crazy question, man.
Yeah.
Crazy question, man.
Right. And why would the Saudis want to
Anyway,
normalize with the Israelis?
I
There's a lot of
appreciate
questions.
your time. I wish you were a real journalist
Yeah, 'cause
asking
he's
real
not-
journalistic questions.
I'm
I
asking
am over
questions.
it.
We came here for Nikki Haley. We interviewed them. Didn't go how I planned. I can see myself probably getting doxxed from that. But you know, it is what it is. We asked real questions. We didn't get real answers. Hopefully there's some value found in this from people that are going to watch.
Watch Ladder with Crowder live Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.